Hey, what's up guys? Here working in the shop today. I have someone's hand plane here that they asked me to sharpen. It's a beautiful old, made in England, Swoden. Swoden seems to be the brand name. British made. Actually, the first letter's gone. I don't know if it's S for Swoden. Oh, it might be on the blade. Woden. W-O-D-E-N. Woden. Made in England. Not familiar with the name. Maybe some of you guys are. Not sure. But I'm not supposed to do any cleanup work or anything like that. I'm just supposed... can't get it open. Just supposed to sharpen the iron, which is really, really dull and needs a lot of work. Now I could just rough this thing in on the belt grinder, finish it up on a jig on the stones and get it close to right. And I usually do that, and I get really good results like that. What I'd like to do today is not just find my way through sharpening this thing, but actually come up with a system where I can rough sharpen this thing on the belt grinder, this along with chisels and those types of things, and get a near perfect edge without needing jigs on the whetstones. So that's what we're going to see if we can make up here today. Here we go. Here's our iron. Pretty dirty, but it's also scalped a certain amount. So you could probably see here that has a bit of a radius to it. So you can design a plane to do that. My guess is that this one just happened to have it by accident. You can, of course, make a plane to have a scalped blade, so you round it, and that would be used then for removing a lot of material really quickly. Since the person who owns this plane didn't specify that was the purpose, I think this one, like I said, has been rounded by accident, just improper sharpening over time. So we're going to bring this back to square. So we definitely have some work to do, and without the belt grinder this would take quite a bit of time on stones. Okay, so let's see if we can come up with a system. So here is my lovely little Dayton 2x48 belt grinder. This is the one I use for all of my knife making. I have a nice granite plat in here made by Ray, very nice. Now this grinder comes with a little itty bitty tool rest there, almost non-existent, pretty junky, but I made up this table for it. Now I don't have any real need for this table to be perfectly flat, or I don't have any need, I should say, for it to be like at any perfect angle or to be able to hold a perfect 90 or anything like that. So it's just kind of a rough job. I need to find a way to get a jig on top of here that will allow my iron to go up against the belt at exactly the right angle, and we need to be holding along this edge so we know we're square. Now I could just rough this out, do it by eye, and I do that sometimes, and I just keep checking it with a square, but I'd like to have some kind of a foolproof system to allow me to do that. Okay, so I've been looking at this whole setup here for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I realized that in order for me to make any type of a jig on here, this table would have to be perfect. And the way I have this table set up, it just isn't right now at this point, and I do not want to take the time today on my Saturday to redesign, remake this whole table with heavier gauge steel and everything and set it up. So what I've come up with is I can set this table at a perfect 90 to the belt. I can do that. And what I've come up with is by using my combo square here, or like my speed square, I've got a real strong magnet behind it. I've got a clamp here so it can't slide, can't tip or move. What I can do here now is this is set at the recommended angle for this blade at 25 degrees. I can just feed it like so into the belt, and everything, providing I don't force the blade and push it out off the table, I'll have this thing at the right angle. So that'll save a lot of time, save some guesswork. I should end up with a square blade, or we'll see anyways if that's the case. Now I work this iron up to 120 grit belt, and what I'm going to do now is just freehand against a 600 grit belt, my 1x30 there, and it should be mild enough that I shouldn't affect my squareness. If I do, you can see I just lobed in those edges there ever so slightly again, so it doesn't cut as hard on the edges. I'm just going to freehand it here now on the 1x30. Let's get you guys in focus. There we go. If I mess it up, it'll be so minuscule that I can repair it on the big grinder again, but just let me give this a shot. So my system worked. We got that edge right in nice and square. All I need to do, because I don't have a belt fine enough, is I threw it in my my iron jig here, and I'm just giving a little bit of work on a bit of sandpaper here, just to refine that edge. This only is going to take just a couple minutes now, rather than the obnoxious amount of time it would have taken before. So it's nice to have that system figured out. I'll use that again if I have to sharpen chisels or more plain irons. Now it's looking perfect. What a beautiful edge. Let me show you guys this Veritas bevel jig. I got this thing last year for Christmas. I've used it a few times, not a lot, just because I haven't done a lot of hand tool work within the last year. But let me show you guys this masterpiece of a tool. Okay, let me introduce you to the most beautiful honing jig in the world, the Veritas Mark II. This thing is so beautiful. Comes in a box like this. I got mine from what was it, leevalley.com, and here it is. Look at this thing. Just absolutely gorgeous. Look at that big brass wheel on the bottom. Super wide, so you're not tipping over like you do with some others. This brass wheel is also removable for cleaning, replaceable. Your iron is held in by two knurled brass knobs, and you have a full blade width pinch. So you can see how this pinches down right here. Just a beautiful setup. Now the jig comes with this little bevel gauge. The bevel gauge has a little grabber here on the front that mates with this slot on the front of this bevel jig here. So it's clamped firmly in place, it's not moving. Now what you also have here is all your graduated markings with holes and this guide. So we set to 25 degrees, and you can see this protrudes down through the bottom. You also have this lip here. Let me show you guys. There it is. It's a little bit difficult to show because there's a lot going on. But what's going to happen now is our iron is going to come out through this slot. Okay? It's going to square on this, and it's going to come all the way out until it touches this stop here. That'll give you exactly 25 degrees right there. Once you're held in place, you just tighten down these brass little knobs, you loosen up this guide, remove it, and now you are dead square with the plane body, and you are out to an exact 25-degree angle. Now what was nice, really nice to see, is that when I clamped in here and just did a few strokes on a piece of sandpaper, I looked at my edge and I saw that I was mating perfectly with the sandpaper all the way along at 25 degrees. So my bevel jig on the bench on the bench grinder there, the belt grinder, worked actually really well. Once this is set up, everything is all rounded over nicely here for grabbing. You have a beautifully rounded thumb purchase right there. It's just the most comfortable thing to use. Sits flat, never tips over. It isn't cheap, but it is just the most beautiful thing. Isn't that nice? And then of course you have that guide with it as well to give you a whole host of angles. Now I just cleaned up the chip buster here, cleaned up the lever, gave everything a little tuning, a little adjustment, so she's ready to run. If this was my own plane that I had just acquired, the thing that I do, well, I'd probably do a full restoration, but that wouldn't be 100% necessary. What I would do is flatten the sole of the plane. So I'd use that granite block I just had here, and I'd completely flatten this sole, because for one, it needs a cleaning. It's built up with a little bit of sap and some pitting and bits of rust and different things like that, and I haven't been told to address that. And for two, they just wear out of shape. That's beautiful. They just wear out of shape over time. I'm going against the grain there, but the tear is still very minimal because that iron is so sharp. But that sole ideally would want to be flattened so it's a nice clean surface, and then with a good oiling, and man, this plane could really perform. It's going to do great there now. Just beautiful there now, but lovely. That's it for this video, guys. These old planes, you know I love them. These old hand tools, I have a soft spot for them. I have a beautiful collection. Maybe we'll get them out sometime soon and do a little bit of work. But we're done for today. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me if you know anything about this plane. Subscribe to my channel if you're your first time here. Also, head over to www.noseworthy.com. Check out my shop. Check out my website. Check out my shop there. See if there's anything you'd like. Got some cool used gear. There's a knife on there. Hats, straps, mugs, lots of goodies. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.